Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another video where today I was just feeling a little lazy. So, I've been notified of the fact that Tierzoo exists and didn't really want to check it out, but after watching some videos, I do want to check it out and record reactions to all of them. So, this was the first one that popped up in my recommended feed. What is the best human support class? Now, here's his top video is Are Humans OP? To which the answer is a resounded yes. There is a reason we're the ones building buildings. But what animal makes the best support?
Sponsored by Skillshare. Humans have the ability to party up with players from other factions. This isn't a unique ability. Plenty of builds can execute powerful team combos that benefit both players, but humans have by far the most options when it comes to choosing which support class they want to enlist in their party.
True.
I've already made a video discussing the two most popular choices, cats and dogs, but I think it's worth giving the more niche support classes a video of their own.
So
I'm going to split them into three categories.
Right?
Mounts, battle summons, and companions. Mounts are characters that players can combine with to form a more powerful battle unit. The most popular example of this is the horse, and for good reason. Horses have high base power and mobility, and also have high enough stamina regeneration to be useful for fast traveling. In combat, horses can deal high burst damage using their kick move, which is powerful enough to one-shot midweight players. Now, one thing about mounts is that in order for them to work, they have to have spec'd into the social abilities, but they also need an intelligence level that's a good deal lower than the human player in order for them to gain full control. Horses happen to fit this criteria perfectly. Humans have tried allying themselves with other similar builds, with a lot less success. Anyway, it's important to know that horses aren't the perfect mount. Their most obvious flaw is their extremely low HP. Most animals can recover from slight injuries, but horses will actually get a game over if one of their legs gets broken. So if low mount HP isn't your thing, I would actually recommend the elephant instead. Elephants are the tankiest land build in the entire game, even being able to shrug off hits from a charging rhinoceros. Of course, opting for the elephant is a huge sacrifice in terms of mobility. Not only are they much slower, but elephants also don't have access to the move jump, meaning they get hard countered by—
You know, you never really think about that, but yeah, elephants probably should not be able to jump. I mean, could you imagine seeing an elephant jump towards you? That would be horrifying. Like, come on.
by any obstacles. These mounts are by far the most powerful, but if you need to fast travel in a server that has a special environmental damage effect, like let's say the Arctic or the desert, you'll need a mount that can resist those effects. For the desert, your best option is the camel. Camels have heat resistance, don't incur the blindness debuff from sandstorms, and can store reserve stamina using their hump ability. They also have one more bonus ability related to their upkeep costs. Now, as the human player, it's your job to make sure that the support player isn't wasting their time working for you and getting no XP in return. So you have to provide that XP, and different builds require different forms. Horses are pretty simple, they can feed on grass or grain basically anywhere, and so they have a relatively low upkeep cost. Elephants, on the other hand, require massive amounts of food to maintain, so they're really impractical doubles partners, as they'll either need to spend most of their time foraging, or require you to split most of your best loot with them. Getting back to camels, they have the same relative ease of upkeep that horses do, but with the added benefit of being highly resistant to the defense mechanisms of cacti. Cacti are worth a ton of XP if you can get past their powerful defense mechanisms. Camels can straight up ignore the damage from cacti, so this is a huge advantage if you're trying to traverse desert servers, where cacti may be the only loot available. Camels are also no slouch when it comes to combat, being more than capable of fending off attacks from midweight characters like dogs and rams, due both to their height advantage and their surprisingly powerful bite attack. All three of these builds make awesome additions to your party, greatly increasing the survivability and defensive capability of your group. But sometimes it's not survivability that's the problem. Sometimes human mains need another player to cover their bad matchups, which, as covered in my video Are Humans OP, tend to be the builds that are small and evasive, difficult to hit even with projectiles, and able to not only outspeed them but also outmaneuver them by burrowing or perching in trees. This is where they can really benefit from the second category of support class, what I call battle summons. Battle summons are players that humans can party up with in order to deal damage on targets they normally struggle to do so against. This type of support is typically only useful on offense, so if you're trying to defend an objective, like say a field containing loot that you're growing, you might want to opt for a different comp. Perhaps the best example of this is the raptor. Since humans don't have the ability flying or reach, it's essential that they party up with a raptor to best deal with other flyers.
Yeah.
Of course, because birds have hollow
could
bones,
fly.
it'd be pretty irresponsible for a human to command their bird teammate to attack any large target that could counterattack with blunt force. But then again, humans generally don't need help in that matchup. Perhaps one of the most effective team combos in the game consists of the human, the dog, and the raptor. The dog can use their high-level smell abilities to find players that are using stealth. And then when they try to flee, the raptor can use their high damage and high accuracy pounce strike to score the finishing blow. One thing birds can't do though is reach players that are hiding underground, and this is where the ferret battle summon comes in. The ferret matchup against burrowing builds like rabbits, rodents, and snakes is hugely favored, and humans can use this to their advantage since they, like birds, don't have any immediate counterplay options when their opponents burrow where they can't reach. This tech was first pioneered by human mains on the Egyptian server during the Bronze Age. Okay, so the last type of support is what I'll call the companion type. And this is where the definition of support begins to kind of fall apart because humans can party up with basically anyone else and at least get a slight morale boost. There are plenty of builds that make great companions, but there are a few that I'd recommend avoiding. I'm going to break these down into two categories. The first is builds which humans can't effectively support, and the second is builds which curse their party members with a charisma debuff. For the first group, I want to highlight two builds. The first is the octopus. Many players assume that due to their high intelligence stat, octopi would make great party members. But the main thing to remember is that in a companionship, the human player is also the moral support role for their non-human counterpart. The higher the intelligence level of your support player, the more attention they require. And as discussed in other videos, cephalopods are among the top intelligence builds in the game. The issue here is that because octopi and humans can't really cross over into each other's natural servers, there aren't many good options for either of them to support the other.
And also,
and as a result, octopus players
like
often try to terminate the relationship and escape the base that humans provide for them. But unfortunately, this also ends up terminating their current playthrough since they lack the lungs ability. The next build on our list also has the same issue of having too high of an intelligence stat for its own good. Parrots don't have the same issue of being unable to cross over into the human server, but they have an even higher intelligence stat than octopi, and since they're a highly social build, they require even more attention and support than octopi, actually being comparable to a low-level human player. While they do have a pretty high morale boost potential, nearly on the same level as cats, they require so much attention that humans can't effectively function as their teammates unless their skill tree has allowed them to work from home. Admittedly, this build does have an above-average presence in the high scores, but I chalk that up to popularity bias. Okay, now for the second category. It's an unfortunate fact of reality that the stat bonuses that a teammate gives you aren't always desirable, and there are many which actually incur negative stat changes, especially to charisma. Human players who party up with arthropods and certain reptiles often experience this, mostly because arthropods and snakes have a high intimidation level that runs completely contrary to any charisma skills that the human player attempts to use. While this can work really well for deterring other players in most biomes, in the city biome where most human mains play, pretty much every important quest and achievement will be harder if you have low charisma and high intimidation. So in my opinion, the downsides greatly outweigh the potential upsides. I know I didn't cover every potential support class, so if you have experience with one of the ones that I left out, I encourage you to leave a comment detailing what you think their pros and cons are. At the end of the day, I have yet to see any good arguments for any support rivaling the incredible usefulness of the dog, a topic I covered in this video here. Dogs are also the only teammates that actually give humans a charisma bonus, which basically elevates them to god tier on the support tier list.
Teamwork is a difficult skill to master, but if you need to...
Okay, Skillshare promo. He put in the work. Let's go ahead and
to learn new skills, let me tell you about Skillshare.
Skillshare is an online learning community with over 20,000 classes in
without
design,
that you wouldn't be able
business,
to
technology, and more.
digest anything.
Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality courses on must-know topics, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. Join the millions of students already learning on Skillshare today with a special offer that's just for my subscribers. Get 2 months of Skillshare for free. Go to skl.sh/tierzoo8 or use the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and thanks especially to my patrons on Patreon. If you'd like to support
I had a turtle in like first grade. My grandfather was out golfing and you found the turtle and just picked it up and brought it home. Bought like a whole aquarium and stuff. It only lasted like a year before we released it into like a little nature place near my elementary school. It's probably dead by now, honestly. Don't know what type of turtle it was, but just kind of sat there in my living room. Lizard, rats, mom. Yeah, true. Alright, you know what, guys? With that being said, I thank you all for watching, and of course, have a good day.